So let's start to this introduction to my project. In this case, let's gonna say AWS Mistral Tavily project. So in this case, I use those topics. So let's introduce it. First of all, the library bottle tree, it's gonna be installed in this notebook. So I use Python. This notebook is about Python. After that, we are import it and doing another stuff. One of the stuff that we usually and generally doing in this project is Google Colab. In this case, we introduce into Google Colab, the let's see, um, how I integrate, the tokens, the access key or the key ID. So in this case, all this code is in the repo. In this case, I use GitHub Desktop. I have in the history the README that I did 7 minutes ago. In this case, all this stuff is about, independence for each other. So in the new integration, future integration, I gonna do, the unification of the three solves you make and doing some amazing stuff like MCP or something like that. Agent stuff with, for example, using LangChain. In this case, I use LangChain. So the logic of creating an agent with MCP and do the stuff like Tavily Research, I will do in the next iteration. For this case, I just gonna do the simple tree solve for each other, development in this notebook. So first of all, I import the keys to get access, to all the model that AWS gave us into the Bedrock. So after that, you're gonna create this variable for get access, into a constant. So in this client, I got, the methods of invoke model. With invoke model, I choose the model with the ID model. In this case, model ID. This is gonna be Mistral, DAG Mistral 7B instruct version 02. Okay, so in this case, I use this model for respond this simple prompt, describe the purpose of a hello world program in a one line. After that, I choose the parameters, the max token, temper, prompt, pass it. So I got a request into a try catch, try accept, and this request I pass it to the second parameter into this function. So after all of this, the response usually got, the string output of the element in the counter 0, in the index 0 of the list of the response. So let's talk about the response. A hello world program is an introductory tutorial example in programming to demonstrate the basic syntax, structure, and output of the programming language. Okay, so with this, we got the output of all this solve that involves AWS Bedrock about EM authorization, some publicity stuff about this. So yes, the next one, we need to install different stuff about Mistral AI. So in this case, the second solve it's about Mistral. So in this case, I use the rack solve Mistral. So I use some data set, a sample data set. In this case, it's just a simple file of txt. So let's introduce to the second project about Mistral in this AWS Hackathon. I installed the packages of FACE in the CPU 1.7.4 and for sure Mistral AI, the library of NumPy. Okay. And next one, I import the API key access to with Google Colab, and I import the NumPy again with the MP since they're nodes. In this case, we just call mp to numpy. The same with Mistral AI. We call Mistral scan from Mistral. So after this import, we import the txt like I said in the beginning. After that, we choose the site that we're gonna read and create it. The like block of text that we read. After that, we create a method that involves the output in a simple text. So we call this method getTextEmbed because we use the model Mistral embed to understanding all the txt like in the vector world of 0 and 1s. After that, we create again another variables. In this case, we just get into an numpy list. So that's mean all this vector. After that, we're gonna figure out working and the logic of split it in a shape and split it and index flat too with another library phase. So we added the full variable of the example to this variable index. So with index created, we can get this method of search and pass two parameters. The first one is the question that in this case example what were the two main things that you work and before college. In this case we ask about the THT, okay? So we create question emblem and we pass it right there, Again with the D and I constant we create, we gonna, for example, in restriction, we use it in the front, okay? So with that chunk right here, it's come from this one, okay? And that D and I that we use here is just for representing the stuff that this looking for. But actually we are gonna use the question right here, pass it to the query. So we create a prompt with these two parameters that I said before. Content information is below to right here. Within the context information and a priori knowledge, answer the query. The query is right here. After that, we're gonna create a method run Mistral, passing two parameters. The second one is just the concept or name of the Mistral large lasted model. And the first parameter is just the prompt. I mean, with this case, we call right here and pass the prompt that we create right there. In this method, we use just pass the model and pass the messages into the client chat, and we gonna get a response. So the response, it will be, we did all this clearly, like this. Before college, gonna be the response. The outer work and writing and programming. Okay, that's the response of what were the two main things the outer work before college. Writing and programming. If we like to get a more longer response, we're gonna change, for example, the prompt, just something like explain more details. For example, that chunk sync could be once on our needed. So with this, we got completed the second solve, Mistral rack. The next one, it's gonna be the agent solve with Tavily. In this case, we use the tool of Tavily Search tool. In this agent, we install the launching OpenAI, launching Tavily. We use the model OpenAI in this case, the GPT-4o, and we use Tavily. So we integrate in the same thing from Google Labs, the API key of Tavily, and we choose the most result of the search tool. In this case, it's gonna be 5. The topic could be general and pass the API key. Remember, this is just a simple example. All this stuff will be more interesting in a full environment a production web application in a production environment, this could be amazing, which you can change this parameter from the UI, from the front end, and give it more amazing stuff to this agent flow. So talking about the agent flow, let's continue. In this case, we create the prompt with the system prompt inside, with a today date. That's very important. So let's introduce it. You are a helpful research age assistant. You will be given a query and you will need to search the web for the most relevant information. The date today is today, the parameter today. So with this first parameter into the from messages from chat prompt template, remember that's come from launching core prompts. And the second one, the third, is gonna be messages and GradPath. It's for 2 calls. So look at that. We got the prompt right here with all this stuff. I continue. We got the agent, create OpenAI tools agent. Okay. We use the infrastructure or OpenAI in this case to pass the prompt, pass the tools, pass the LM with ChatGPT 4.0 and the tools, Tavily Search tool, the prompt. We're gonna execute it, the agent execution with all that, and pass it, the user input. What is the most popular sport in the world, including all Wikipedia sport source? And we got, the variable response that got the executor of the agent that called the invoke with the human messages to get this input. Invoke the tools that called Tavily Search, the query is more popular sport in the world, include domains, Wikipedia, and the query from the outputs is called a following up questions. No image result is gonna be in the result. The URL is gonna be with this page, the title, etc. So this is a list of the results. Let's continue to the end of this one. Look at this. In this green color got the conclusion. The most popular sport in the world is association football, also known as soccer. It is played by an estimated 250 million players. It's over 200 countries and territories. You can find more information on this topic on Wikipedia and pass the link. And also we got a lot of more information. So let's put right here a amazing acceleration. I am a software engineer, so as a software engineer I can create with this simple line string. So it's a JSON syntax. We can create for example, I put something interesting, creative and innovation right here. With this list, I can create a list of cards, for example, and get amazing UX. With a click in the card, in this list of cards, we can get a click in the card and open it. A pop-up with the title, a pop-up with the content, and score, for example. This information, it will be in the card, okay? And another one is another card, and etc. So imagine that UX, okay? That's a simple example of the power of being a software engineer. So with this, let's finish this demo introduction. Thanks for listening up, thanks for watching, and follow me as developer Jeremy Leaf in all the networks, social networks.